Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome in. We are so thrilled to have another From Novice Ninja event here. We are curious today as people are kind of rolling in. What are you drinking today? I have a little yerba mate. I've also got some sparkling water. How are you keeping yourself refreshed? And let us know too if you want where you're calling in from. We always have a worldwide crowd here, which is super exciting. As we wait for a few people to join us, we'll go ahead and kind of get started with a quick intro and then pass it over to Gonzalo Jimenez, who is our amazing co host for today. So, today is From Novice to Ninja, and my name is Grant Williams. I'm the community manager here at Kartra. We put these on to really help you guys go from, like we said, novice to ninja, to go quickly from maybe not knowing a whole lot about a certain topic, about certain marketing, sales funnels, and really get you to that ninja status. And so we put these events on every single month. We invite these amazing experts to come with us who have pro tips, hacks, knowledge to really give you the power to grow your business and master these key skills that you need for digital marketing. We have previous From Novice Ninja events that are in the guide section of our Kartra official community. And then we will have a Q&A at the end, so feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Also, a replay will be available as soon as we wrap up today, so check your email for that. And before we get started, though, I wanted to introduce our amazing co-host, Kartra certified partner and funnel strategist, Gonzalo Jimenez. Gonzalo is a father of an 8-year-old kidpreneur and former engineer with 25 plus years experience in automation systems. He now specializes in business and funnel strategy. As the founder of We Build Funnels, he assists online entrepreneurs in boosting sales through high converting funnels, relieving them from technical challenges. His expertise has enabled numerous 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs to elevate their revenue effortlessly. When asked about how Kartra works for him and what are the best features, he says that Kartra helps me, but mostly importantly, my clients, make it easier to make online sales. The advanced features that we can use to build conversion, optimize high-ticket funnels are second to none. When paired with the right traffic generation strategy, there is no ceiling on how much revenue people can generate. So we're super excited to have Gonzalo today, and without further ado, I will pass it on to him.
Thanks so much, Grant, and hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm so excited to be here. I cannot wait. So let me dive into this. So I prepared a presentation for you guys. So let me start it. Share my screen. Okay, cool. So today's presentation is about behavioral adaptive marketing, or BAM. That's a Kartra feature, which is really, really cool. So I'm calling this how to install BAM to maximize your high ticket funnels. So pretty much the idea is how to use this cool behavioral adaptive marketing into your funnels, and specifically in high ticket funnel in this particular case. So let me start with if this sounds familiar to you. Like, have you ever heard or even said yourself things like, oh, I don't have enough, or I have a lot of no-show people, like it's a high no-show rate, like you do a lot of work trying to get people into your funnel, into your schedule, and then when they don't show up for your meetings, or a lot of unqualified people, like you talk with them and you realize, okay, no, they are not good for my program or for my high ticket service or program that I have. Or if you run paid traffic, you're paying a lot of money per click, per registration, or per lead, and obviously it's like you're feeling you're wasting your money on paid traffic because the sales are not there. Or you have like several low conversion rates along the funnel. Like people maybe are looking at the page, but they don't register, or they don't book the call, or things like that. So pretty much in summary, you're not getting as many sales as you would like to. Like, it's very common in a lot of people running high ticket funnels. Hopefully not that much in your case, but maybe you heard or said some of those things before. So then why you should listen to me? I've been working with Kartra since 2018, pretty much, and I've helped plenty of clients running like profitable businesses using Kartra, like with different funnels. Here are some screenshots of what some of my clients got, like some of the results they got money-wise. So at the end of the day, revenue is what we need for our businesses to grow and to keep going. As you can see here, well, there are many options with different funnels, but the one that I am most proud of is this one, because I helped this particular client go from 6K a month all the way to 60K a month, so pretty much 10x her funnel. So I know a thing or two about building funnels and generating revenue using Kartra. Okay, so this is what we're gonna talk about today. I'll start with a small introduction. Then the first part is going to be what BAM is and its a strategy. I am a big fan of starting always from the top, always from strategy first. That's what I always say to my clients. It's not about the funnel itself, it's about your strategy first. So then the second part is going to be how we can apply BAM to high ticket funnels. And the third part is going to be some tutorials of how you can do this in Kartra, how you can install this in Kartra. So at the end of the day, it helps you bring more customers, bring better customers, bring more revenue. What you do with the revenue is up to you. Like, you can hire more people in your team. You can take the vacation you haven't taken in a while. You can go and play with your kids. That's up to you. And at the end, it's going to be like a small conclusion and some Q&A time in case you have still some questions about this. Okay, so let's start with a little bit of an intro. The big idea here is that we want to go from generic to personal. So I call this automatic mass customization. I don't know if you heard about the term mass customization before, but the idea is that usually it's very hard to do customization to the masses. So this is one example that Coca-Cola did, trying to get to the masses, but do some kind of customization. So what they did is they just chose a different names, some of them popular, some of them not that popular, but it made people feel that the bottle was for them specifically, right? So what we can do is we can use the power of Kartra to create this customization to the masses. So actually use behavioral adaptive marketing, or BAM, to do something like this in the digital world. So create some kind of mass customization, but doing it automatically. So it's not like random, it's actual customization. So let's talk about some understanding about what BAM is and the strategy behind. So the main difference between BAM and traditional marketing is that what you have seen, or probably will see most of the time, is that marketing is treating people all the same. Like, it doesn't matter what they do, it doesn't matter who they are, what they are, whatever. The marketing message is the same, the way they treat people is the same, etc., etc. When we are talking about BAM, what we can do is we can treat people differently. And it's not just treating by name. It's like, okay, what did they do, or what they didn't do that we can take advantage, well, not take advantage, but react differently to them. Like, I don't know, for instance, if someone clicked on a specific link and visited a specific page, what kind of message we want for those people versus the message that we want for people who didn't click. Or if someone watch a video up to certain percentage of the video, what do we want to tell them, or what kind of pages we want to show them? So once again, it's all based on what they did or what they didn't do. That's why it's called behavior. So behavioral adaptive marketing, depending on what people do or what people don't do. So some of the features that Kartra has that help us or support the idea of using BAM are, well, pages, first of all. One of the things you can do, and maybe this is the most popular feature when it comes to BAM, or when people think about when they think about BAM in Kartra, is the ability to show dynamic pages. So pretty much show content based on, for instance, tag. Like, if somebody has a tag applied, they can see one section versus someone who didn't have that tag applied will see a different section. So that's one way to create customization on pages. So depending on what they did or didn't do, the page will show different content. But I like to see it in a different way. I like to see BAM as a whole strategy, not just the page, but where else and how else we can use this. So one way is to use emails. So we know we can use the power of email sequences to automatically send emails to people, like when you do a freebie, for instance, like, okay, they sign up for a freebie, you send them an email to download the freebie, then you create an email sequence with a nurture sequence, for instance, like sending emails to the people, make sure they consume it, etc., etc. However, you can use BAM so that you can send different emails, again, depending on what they did or didn't do. Something very simple. Let's say you have a freebie, then you send the freebie over email. So this is the link to download your freebie. So what happened next? It could be something like, if people click to download the freebie, then you send one type of email. If they didn't, you send a different type of email. So this is where BAM comes into action. Like, okay, if they didn't consume my content yet, I want to send an email to try to make sure that they consume the content. So reassuring, okay, hey, I noticed you didn't click or you didn't download the freebie, so here it is again, or whatever kind of message you want to use. However, if they did, you can send a different email saying something like, okay, how did it go? Like, did you like it or whatever? Do you have any feedback for me? Whatever. That's where it comes, like the behavioral adaptive kind of thing. Now on videos, same idea. When you use Kartra Video, you have some powerful features, things like you can tag people based on how much of the video they watch, or you can tag people based on call to actions that they clicked. And I'm gonna talk about all that, like how to do that later during the presentation. But those are the three main features that I wanted to talk with you about today during this presentation: pages, emails, and video. So at the end of the day, what Kartra does is it enables to do personalized marketing at scale. Why I call it marketing at scale and why I call it personalized is because you can do dynamic pages, you can create dynamic emails, and you can create dynamic offers. So pretty much you can offer something to someone differently to another person depending on what they purchased or didn't purchase in the past, or depending on what they did or didn't do in the past. So again, depending on the behavior, you can do different things. Now, let me talk with you about how we can apply BAM to a high ticket funnel. You can apply it to whatever kind of funnel you want, obviously, but I want to focus on high ticket funnels. So the strategy behind a high ticket funnel, this is a simple example of a funnel for high ticket. Like you have some kind of traffic source. It could be paid, it could be free, whatever, but it's some kind of traffic source. Usually most people, we have this a paid traffic source. They go, let's say this is a webinar to book a call funnel. That's one of the most typical high ticket funnel. They register for the webinar, and then they go to a watch room so they can watch the webinar. It could be a pre-recorded video. It doesn't have to be a live webinar. So let's assume this is a pre-recorded video. You can call it a master class if you want. So the idea is that this is the video that people will watch. And then at the end of the video or somewhere in the video, you will invite people to book a time in your calendar. So this is a very linear and very typical high ticket funnel. So most people probably are familiar with this type of funnel. Now, let's say you are in a place where you need to add some kind of friction with people. So what happens is in the previous one, let me go back. On this one, pretty much you are trying to talk with everybody and anybody as long as they watch the video and click the link to book a call. This helps when you need to talk with people a lot, like when you are starting out and you want to make sure you understand what the needs are of your people, etc. And now let's say you want to get some more information in advance, like, okay, I want to know, I don't know, where they are coming from, how they heard from me, etc., etc. You want some more information before they book. They can still book, like everybody can still book, but you want to know something in advance. One of the things is that some people will see the application that they want to apply. Some people will say, well, actually, I do want to apply, so I'm going to give you my information or answer to your questions or those kind of things before applying to the call, and then they will see the calendar. So this is great if you want to get something before the call. Now, some people use this to manually qualify and disqualify people. So they read the application, and if they feel that the person is not a good fit, then they manually cancel the booking on the calendar. So that's one option. And again, this adds some more friction. So not everybody is going to go and see your calendar like from the get-go, but it helps to determine if people are better fit to your program or not. So now, you can be at a position where you are talking with so many people that you don't want to talk with everybody. Like it's like you're getting so much traffic, so many people booking in your calendar that you want to try to do some kind of filter before people can book. So what you can do is you can do an automated application which will qualified and or unqualified people. So let's say you drive traffic to your opt-in, people register for the webinar, they watch the webinar, again, webinar, video training, masterclass, whatever you want to call it. It's a video, evergreen video, by the way. It doesn't have to be live. It could be, but in this case, I'm talking about something pre-recorded. At some point on the video, they will get an invitation to apply. Then they will apply. Then the application will automatically determine if people are qualified to see the calendar or not. So if they are qualified, they will go and see the book a call page. So they will see the calendar, they will book a time. If they are not qualified, they will see something different, like a downsell. And it doesn't mean that it has to be something for sale. That's why I call this options. So you can give them something like, I don't know, freebies or resources or even low ticket training that you may have. So this is something to get people ready for you for the next time. Like they may not be ready now, but they may need to do something before being ready for you. So this is a great way to automatically qualify people. And if they are not qualified yet, you can do something to help them get there. So this is a more advanced funnel, but it's better, especially for people who are already getting so many calendar booking that they need to filter out some people. This is not for everybody. It's more advanced. And especially I use this with clients who run like quite a few money, like some money on ads. Like it's probably like 5 to 10,000 a month on ads, so or and more, so that they can get the most qualified people they can get. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. This is great. It's a strategy you can use pretty much anywhere. But what I recommend is to install BAM into this funnel. And how I do it and what I do for me and my clients is I add a bunch of sequences with emails, but it's not just emails for the sake of sending emails. Again, I see BAM as a whole strategy, not just as a page or as a tagging. And the strategy behind it is like this. You have people going from any kind of traffic source. Most of the time it's going to be paid. They go to register for your event. Let's call it a webinar. Let's call it a masterclass, whatever. They go and see the watch room right away. However, something can happen. People can get interrupted. They may lose internet access for the moment. I don't know, whatever the case may be, they may not watch the video. So you will be losing those people who didn't watch. So what some people do is then send an email with the replay and they say, hey, here is the replay for your webinar or whatever. And they try to get them back to the page. Once again, they can miss the email. They may be busy at the time they got the email. They may go to the page or whatever the case may be. Then what I usually recommend is to have a sequence, not just an email, but a sequence of emails trying to get people to consume the video. This could be like as many emails as you want, with the whole point or the whole goal of that sequence is to get people to consume the video. Now, using BAM, you can tell if people actually click to go to the application page, you can tell if people actually watch certain amount of the video, like did they watch the pitch, did they went all the way to where I asked them or invite them to the application, maybe they watch just a few minutes. So depending on where they are and depending on what you want to do, you may want to keep sending people to consume the video, or you may want to add them to a different sequence. So let's say my goal of this sequence is for people to watch the webinar, and my goal of the webinar is obviously for people to get or to click to the application page. Now, this watch room could be different, again, depending on what people did or didn't do. Like it could be like the generic video with, I don't know, maybe no controls on the video, no copy, only the video for those who go for the first time. But for those who go the second time, or for those who watch 10% of the video, it could be a different video, maybe with controls enabled, maybe with some copy on the page. And that's when the power of BAM comes into place. Like you can pick and choose what to do depending, again, on what they did or what they didn't do. So now, same idea. Now that they are on the watch room, the whole point of the watch room or of the video is for people to apply. Now, some people will click the application page, some people will not. That's nature of any funnel. Like not everybody is going to flow through the funnel. So for those who don't click, or even for those who click, you may want to create a different email sequence. Like for instance, for those who click, you can create a sequence trying to get them back to the application page if they click but didn't apply. See, behavior. They click to go to the application page but didn't apply. Since they didn't apply, I want to send them a set of emails to make sure that they apply. Or you may have some set of people who watch maybe all the way to the page, to the invitation to apply, but didn't click. So you may send a different set of emails for them, reminding them about the application. You don't want them, maybe, well, that again, that will depend on your strategy. You may not want them or may not need them to watch the video again, but you want them to apply. So maybe you can send them a set of emails with a summary of what they watch, or a summary of what they learn, or a summary of the outcomes that they will get if they work with you, and then invite them to the application page right away. You don't need to send any of those emails anymore. You don't need to send people to the watch room anymore. You just want to focus on people applying. So once again, behavior, what they did, what they didn't do. So this is the whole point, behavior. Now, once they are on the application page, they may apply or they may not. Let's say they apply and they are qualified. Same idea again. They may be qualified. They may see the calendar booking page, but maybe they don't book. So all the effort you did before, and they don't book because, again, they got interrupted, they got distracted, they lost internet connection, whatever the case may be. And once again, that is when you want to use another email sequence, where the whole point of this sequence is to make sure that they book a call, especially because you know they are qualified people. And if they went to the page but they didn't book, or even if they are qualified and for whatever reason they didn't book the call, you want them to book the call. So then you use an email sequence to make sure they do. And those sequences, again, could be as many emails as you want, trying to get the people to do what you want them to do. So it could be 2 emails, 5 emails, 7 emails, like whatever you feel is best for your audience. Like, and obviously, as soon as they do what you want them to do, you stop that previous sequence. Now, once again, when they book a time, you want to make sure that they do actually show up for the call. So you need to have reminders or another sequence of emails, or in this case, you can do it in Kartra Calendar directly if you're using Kartra Calendar, and have the emails making sure that people show up for the call. So you need to give them the reason. You want to make sure that reminding people that they have a booking with you, and make sure that they actually show up for the call. So that's the whole point of this area. So, I forgot to mention here, if people don't qualify, then you can show them the downsell. You can also have here options for people to do, like you can send them emails based on what kind of unqualified people they are. Like you can go as crazy as you want. Like it can be as simple as just 2 options or as complex as many. Like I have a client for whom what we did is qualified people went to the calendar, depending of the level of unqualified. Some people receive like a low ticket offer page. Some other people receive like a freebie page, and some other people saw something like, sorry, we cannot help you, kind of thing. So again, you can make it as simple or as complex as you want. The whole point here is that you want to make sure you are doing things based on what they did or didn't do, based on behavior. Well, it's not you, it's Kartra doing the things that you tell it to do, right? So in summary, for me, the key components of a successful high ticket funnel are making sure you understand intention, so what people are trying to do, and then create the right follow-up. So again, understand what the intention is, and then create the right follow-up. So let me go back again. Like if people click to see the application page, they have the intention to apply. But if they don't, there must be a reason why they didn't. If you can think in advance some of those reasons, you may be able to follow up with emails trying to fulfill or answer those reasons why they didn't apply. Like again, it could be something as simple as interruption. It could be something like they don't feel they are ready for you, or whatever the case may be, right? But if you know, or if you at least try to understand the intention of what people are doing, then you can react and let Kartra do the follow-up for you automatically. So again, that's why I said this is mass customization, because you can have 10,000 people coming here and not everybody's going to do the same, and you will let your system do things differently depending on what they did or what they didn't do. Okay, this is the part that I guess most people would like to talk about, which is the tutorials on how we can actually do things. I did like to, or wanted to spend some time on the strategy portion because I really like that part. But I'm gonna do now some tutorials. I'm gonna go into my Kartra account and show you guys a few things on how to do this kind of stuff, or how to implement this in your own Kartra account. So one of the first things I wanted to show you is how to track engagement on emails and pages. And by engagement, I mean how to track what people are doing, like what people are interacting with. And for that, I like to use tracking links. So Kartra has this great feature called tracking links, where you can see what's going on and you can create a bunch of links based on actions. Like in this example, for example, I have something like, okay, when people go to a landing page, when people go to a step 1, when people click to go to see the application page, when people click to see the calendar page, when people go to the calendar confirmation page. So what I wanted to do here is to see the flow at every step. And the reason why I like using tracking links is because you can see the number of clicks, you can see goals if you set goals for that, and you can even see revenue if you wanted to. So now let me share my screen with Kartra, where I have my Kartra page. So just a second. Okay, there we go. This is where you can configure your tracking links. I created one here for the sake of the training. You do just click here where it says plus tracking link and create a new one. I'm just going to edit one that I created. So when I click edit, if you haven't used tracking links before, pretty much what you do is, let me show you again. You create a name for your tracking link, you create a category if you want to, then you hit next. And what you do here is you tell Kartra what you want to track. So like you can do a Kartra page. So I'm using a link. So the tracking link is pretty much its own URL. And that URL is going to go to somewhere, wherever you want it to go. the difference is that since you have a tracking link, you're sharing this other link, you will be able to add tagging, you will be able to count clicks, you will be able to run automations. There are many things you can do based on that. So for instance, in this case, what I did is I said, well, I want to track people going to a Kartra page. So you decide which site is going to be in, and you decide the page on your Kartra page. You can say, I want this for everybody, only for people who have a tag or people who don't have a tag apply. So let's say everybody. In the case of the funnel that I'm showing, I need to use the everybody. Now, you could say a Kartra page, you could say something like a product page, you can say an external URL. So now, sometimes I get a question like, why would you want to use external URL if you already have your pages in Kartra? So this could be people going to something like your blog on WordPress, or this could be something like people going to download a file from you, like your freebie. So instead of sharing the freebie directly, what you could do is you can add a link to your freebie here, like could be in Google Drive, in Dropbox, on Kartra files, so whatever it is, and then you can track if people are clicking. So let's say we create something like that. So let's assume what I'm doing here is that, like, actually, let me go back. Let's see, oh no, let me not save. So let's say this is something like for my freebie or whatever. Then what you can do is you can say, I want to track clicks only, or I want to track goals. So what goals mean is that you want to know what happened after they click. And you are limited to those options here. Like you can say, I want to track opt-ins. It's pretty much if people filled out a form, or I want to track page visit. The same thing, you can track clicks, you can track page visit, and usually that's done for pages outside your Kartra account. So that's kind of more advanced, but you can do that. Or you can track purchases. Like I want to know if somebody purchased this specific product, and you can even say at this specific price point after they click that tracking link. So this is the goal settings if you wanted to set goals for your tracking link. Sometimes you just want to know if people click or didn't click. So then you say something like track clicks only, and that's pretty much it. Now, this is something really, really cool. When people click, you can say, I want to tag those people who clicked. Maybe if you are just counting how many people click, you don't need to add tags. But if you want to know exactly who they are, or maybe you want to run an automation based on a tag, you can just add a tag here. You can say, well, I want to add a tag for people who click. Now, one of the things that I really like about Kartra is that you can do pretty much the same thing in many different places. I know some people find that annoying because they get confused, but I personally do love it because I'm a control freak, and I like to know where I'm doing, what I'm doing, and I want it to do the things that I want Kartra to do. So I really like that feature. Now, some people will tell you, oh, you don't need a tag to start a sequence, for instance. But there are cases when you have to use a tag, or there may be cases when you don't want to use a tag. So everything is relative. So just make sure you understand why you're doing what you're doing, and don't think that things are absolute, especially in Kartra. So let's say I want to add this tag when people click. Then I have to say if I want to use dynamic tracking links or not. So that difference here is that if you have a tracking link, you just have a URL, and that's it. If you use dynamic tracking links or dynamic tracking IDs, what it does is it adds something else at the end. So let me show you how this looks. So if I said, yes, I want to use dynamic tracking links, and I click edit, when you don't use dynamic tracking links, your tracking links are like this. So all the way to, I know they look kind of ugly, but that's how they are, all the way to here. If you want to use tracking IDs, Kartra adds the question mark, and you can use up to two tracking IDs and one cost per click. If you want to, you don't have to use this. And I like to always say, yeah, I want to use tracking IDs because you can use them or not. Like the tracking ID doesn't change. That's the other great feature about tracking links. Once you create a tracking link, it doesn't change. So if you come back, make edits, make changes to your tracking link, your tracking link stays the same. So what it means is that if you sent an email before, or if you sent a broadcast before, or if you had that tracking link somewhere before, you don't need to update those links anywhere, which is huge because you don't need to worry about it if you make changes. That's very useful, actually. Let's say you're sending a document like a freebie, a PDF or something like that. And then in the future, you want to change it. If you send a link to that freebie specifically or to that PDF specifically, if you want to change it in the future, you need to change the link. And the people who had the link before, it won't work anymore. If you have it in social media, if you had it in YouTube videos or on previous emails or whatever, you will need to change those links. So this is very useful if you think your content is going to change in the future. You create a tracking link, and then you just update the tracking link, and even past links that you send, they will have the new content if people click the next time. So sorry, that was a side note, but I'm so excited about the tracking links that I didn't want to go without telling you this. So what you do if you want to use the tracking IDs is you can say, you know what, I only need one tracking ID. So you copy all this and you can use it as it is. So I'm going to use this. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to use it on an example. So I said you can use links on emails and pages. How can you track what people did or didn't do? So one option, again, is when using tracking links, is you can have a link. And let's say this is a link to one of my freebies. So if I am going to send an email and I am going to, for instance, say, hey, here's a link to download your book or your ebook or whatever the freebie is. So what I can do is I can just add a hyperlink. And instead of doing a link directly to the file, I can do the link to my tracking link. So the one that I just showed you, right? But then I need to add, well, I wanted to add in this case, a tracking ID. It is something that it's meaningful to you. Let's say I'm going to send 2 emails trying to get people to download this book. So I can say, this is the tracking ID for email 1. So I type something like E1 or email 1, whatever. But then on my next email, I want to know which one performed better. I can say, okay, this tracking ID now belongs to email 2. So it's the same tracking ID, the same tracking link, but different tracking ID. So that way I can know both of them will go to the same file, to the same page, to the same destination, but I will know which one created that link. Was it email 1? Was it email 2? You could do things like, okay, let's say you're doing this on a video on YouTube. You can say video 1, video 2, video 3, or if it is on an ad, you can say ad 1, ad 2, whatever. So I guess you get the idea. So all this portion and all the way to the beginning is a destination where people are going. And whatever is the tracking ID is for you to know where they came from if you want to. Like, you don't have to do it, you don't have to use it, but if you want to, you can. So now when people click on that email, Kartra will know because they click a tracking link instead of just a regular link. You can do the same thing on pages. Like, let's say you have a button on a page that you want to track if people actually click it. So what most people will do when they build pages on Kartra is they will go to the button and they say, okay, where they are going. If they go to another Kartra page, they will just say things like, okay, link to another Kartra page, and they will do the thing. You don't have tracking specific of when people are doing or what people are doing. But if you say link to another page, and instead of saying link to a Kartra page, you say link to an external custom URL, and then you paste in here your tracking link, then now you know, or you can know that people click this button to go to this page. And you can even say, this is, for instance, button 1. And if I have another button down there, well, I don't in this example, but if you have another button, you can even say they went because of button number 2. So you can even do some kind of heat mapping inside your page so that you know what people click and what people don't click. Maybe you have a button that nobody clicks and you're wasting real estate inside your page. So this is how you can learn. Again, this is how you can track what people are doing or not doing inside your pages or inside your emails. Now, what can you do with that? Like, what's the whole point of creating a tracking link? First point is to know what's going on, so what people are doing or people are not doing. But then remember that I told you first is intention and then follow up. Okay, the tracking link help us to understand intention, so what people are doing or not doing. So let me finish this one on the sequence. And then you can do, for instance, things like on an email sequence, you can start a sequence based on tag. So remember that my tracking link was tagging people. So then you can say, I want to start the sequence when people get assigned this specific tag. So people click the link, they got assigned a tag, and I start this sequence. Again, Kartra lets you do things differently, like the same thing in different ways. And let me show you, for instance, you could say, you know what, I don't need this to be a tag. I want this to be when people click the link. You can come here and say something like, okay, I want to run this on a basic automation. And the automation is when people click the link. So let me look for it. When lead clicks on tracking link, then you select the tracking link that you want to use. And then you say, subscribe to this sequence. So now, 2 different ways to do the same thing. So when people got assigned the tag or when people click the tracking link. Now, I know some people will say, why would you do that? Or why do you need to do something like that? Like it all depends on what you're trying to do. So let me clarify something here, for instance. Let's say you want people to get into this sequence every single time they click the tracking link for whatever reason. So then you need to use something like this so that every time they click, they go back to the sequence. I am assuming that at the end of the sequence, you unsubscribe people because you cannot have people going back to the same sequence. So let me show you what I mean. If you finish your sequence with something like this, like just a complete statement, what is going to happen is people will come, go through whatever you have on the sequence, and when they get here to the end, they will stay on the sequence. You cannot reassign them to go back to the sequence again. And maybe that's something you want to do, maybe not. You just need to be aware of that is what's happening. If you want people to be able to come back to the same sequence in the future, you will need to unsubscribe them before that. So let's say I want to unsubscribe them from this sequence. I don't remember the name. Let's say workshop example. So what I'm doing here is I want to say at the end of the sequence, I want to unsubscribe people from this sequence. So what we're doing is we're pretty much saying when people end, I want them to be out of the sequence. So why do you want to do that? Well, there are a few reasons. One of them could be that you may want them to be able to come back. So let me go back to the triggers. If you use something like this, and somebody went all the way to the end of the sequence, and they are out of the sequence, if they click again, they will come back to the sequence. If you use a tag as the starting rule, say, let me add the tag in again, this is going to happen only once, unless you remove the tag as part of the sequence. So when people get assigned the tag, this is going to happen. When people already have the tag, this is not going to trigger. This is not going to fire. This is a like when this happens kind of event. So it will happen only once, and people will run through this sequence only once. So that's the main difference between using this or using this, using the tagging or using the automation. Again, it depends on what you want to do with the sequence. It's not a right or wrong option, is how you want to use it. Does it make sense? Okay, hopefully it does. And then once again, in your, remember that I told you in your sequences, you can do things differently. You can have like an if then or true false option or step where you can say, if people click something like the trigger link, fine for this, has clicked tracking link, let's say this tracking link, then I want to do something. If they didn't click, like, well, let me do something more realistic. So let's say we have something like this, and then we have a wait. I don't know. Let's say we want to wait for 1 day. So after this email, I want to wait for 1 day. And after that 1 day, I want this split. Okay, sorry about this. Complete. Okay, so I send an email right after people start the sequence. Then I wait for 1 day. After that day, I want to check if people click or not, or didn't click the tracking link. If they did, I send one specific email. If they didn't, I can send a different kind of email. One thing I've heard is, why do you use waits or wait block when you can also add the wait in here on the other block? Like right here, you can say delay so much time. Once again, that depends on your strategy, but my recommendation, or the reason why I use wait blocks, is because it gives me flexibility for the future. What do I mean by that? Let's say I want to manually add somebody to this sequence. If you have the wait inside the block, then you're forcing people to wait because the wait is inside the block. But if you have the wait as an independent block, then you can decide, do I want them to wait or do I want them to start right away? If you want them to wait, you can start the sequence at this step, at the wait step. If you don't want them to wait, you can start the sequence at the, in this case, at the true false split right away. So you have options. And I like having options. So that's why I do it. It's not because I love having more blocks. It's just because I love having more options for the future. Okay, so let me go back to my presentation. Okay, so that's how we can track engagement on emails and pages. And then the next one is going to be how we can track engagement on videos. Remember that I told you you can use video to know what people are doing when they consume your content. So this is great for when you're doing webinar, like evergreen webinars or master classes or pre-record. This is pre-recorded video, basically. You can call it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, it's a pre-recorded video. And in order to take advantage of this feature, you need to use Kartra Video, basically. So let me go back to my Kartra page. Okay, so if you open a video or a Kartra video, you will have a bunch of options. I'm not gonna go on many details on them. I wanted to show you those two, which are the main ones. So call to actions, pretty much you can ask Kartra to do something on your behalf when people are watching the video. I really like this. So let me show you. You can say, I want an opt-in. This is very useful. Well, in this case, for high ticket funnels, I don't use it, but you can use this if you are creating some kind of free content, like free video content, and you want people to give you their information before watching the rest of the content. So that's really cool. You can add just an image, you can add some caption, but what I like is to do the caption plus button because it's a call to action with an actual button for people to click. You can do on social unlock, which means they need to share on social media before they can keep watching. But for this training is pretty much, I'm going to use this caption plus button. The thing is, you can tell when you want to start showing this message and this button on the video. Like, let's say I want to show it, I don't know, let's say this video is 3 minutes 55. Let's say the pitch is at minute 2. So I want to show it all the way to the end of the video. So 3 minutes 55 seconds. So what it's going to do is it's going to show some headline and it's going to show the call to action. And well, obviously you will write something better than this, but and then you can say, where do you want people to go when they click the link? Once again, you can use one of your tracking links. So you will know that people click that button. For instance, tracking ID could be video 1, equal video 1, or things like that. So that helps you know that people click the link on the video. Now, one of the reasons why I really like having the call to action on the video is because people may be watching the video full screen if you enable that. But then if you have the call to action on a page, they won't see it because they're watching the video on full screen. But with Kartra, you can add the call to action on the video itself. So even if they are watching full screen, they will still see the call to action, which is really, really cool, in my opinion. Now, again, that call to action, you can add the tracking link in there. The tracking link will do everything that we said we can do before. And you can also add tags based on what people do or don't do inside the video. Like you can do tagging when they visit, you can do tagging at a specific time, or you can do tagging when they click a call to action. So in this case, I'm using a trigger link for the call to action, so I don't need to tag here because I'm tagging on the trigger link. You can do here if you want to. What I want to do, I want to tag based on watch. Like if people watch, like, I don't know, maybe I'm going to say 30 seconds. If they watch 30 seconds, then I want to tag them. Well, and I wouldn't be something like this Kartra example. It would be something like they watch 30 seconds or whatever, so that I can do something else afterwards when they actually watch the video. Well, don't forget to publish the video, and that's it. Now, one thing I wanted to show you with the tagging and dynamic pages is something you can do. Like, remember that I told you can show different things inside your Kartra page based on tagging. So let's say I clone this section. To make it different, let's say, let's build you a, I don't know, high ticket funnel, HT funnel, to make it different than this one. And I can say, I want to show this section. So let me back up. I want to show this section only to people who have a specific tag, and I want to show this section to people who don't have that specific tag. So you can say something like edit the section, then you click here where it says hi, and then display section only to, say, subscribe to tag, and then you decide which tag. And then the other section has to be the opposite. So on this one, I said only to those subscribed to a tag. And this one, I will say only to those not subscribed to a tag. So I'm using the same tag. So what is going to happen when I publish this is that it's going to use, depending on the tag, is going to show the page differently, right? Okay. Now I know, as of today, if you're using custom domains, you may find issues when it comes to computer cookies. So Kartra uses cookies for many things. One of the things is dynamic pages. So if you have cookies blocked, you may see that this don't work. Okay, so these options like hiding or like based on, or even timers or whatever based on tagging may not work if people don't have cookies enabled. Now, one way, well, actually, there are two ways to kind of go around this. One is to use Kartra subdomain, and that solves one of the third-party cookies issues. But the one that I like the most is to think that cookies won't work, and then how or what I can do so that if cookies don't work, it doesn't matter. So for instance, if I am trying to offer something for people who didn't purchase something before, like a product, do I care if people who already purchased see that? If I don't, then I can use something like this. If I do, then I better use two different pages. Because usually when you're doing something like this, when you are trying to hide or show based on tagging, it's because they are coming from either an email or a previous page or somewhere else. So they are already in Kartra. If they are not in Kartra, it doesn't work, right? So they are coming from somewhere before in Kartra. But the thing is, it may not work if they don't have cookies enabled. So I think about that. Okay, do I care if this doesn't work? If I don't care, then I just use it. If I do care, I prefer to use two different pages instead of two different sections. So does it make sense? That's my workaround. So let's say I want to use two different buttons, but I do care what they click, or I don't want some people to see that button unless they did something. So then I create two different pages. But if I don't care, again, I can use just something like this and assume that nobody is going to work. The tagging is not going to work for everybody or for anybody. And for those who work, perfect. And if it doesn't work, well, it doesn't work. That's what I wanted to say about videos. Okay, let me go back to my presentation. We're almost there. Thank you so much for staying here with me for so long. Okay, now, finally, how can you put all this together? Like, how can you make all this work? My recommendation is to map it out and document what you're doing. So Kartra is really, really powerful, but as such, it's really complex. Like, I won't remember what I did like 2 weeks from now. So what I do is I have my funnel map, and then I make note of everything that I'm doing. Okay, what's the page? The page is containing like what kind of forms or automations or tagging or sequences. So whatever is happening, I document that so that I can remember. I even add links so that I don't need to go and search for things. I just copy the link and go back. And you don't have to use the software for this. You can use it manually, or you can use it even in PowerPoint. I do use a software for funnel mapping, but you don't need to. You don't have to. But I do strongly recommend that you document everything that you're doing so you know what's going on. Like, if you're using tracking links, are you adding tagging or not? Are you using tracking IDs or not? What do the tracking IDs mean? Because you saw I used abbreviations, right? Instead of email one, I said E1. So somewhere I have to document what E1 means. Things like that. If you're running automations, I want to know what the automation is doing and where, so then I can go back in the future, and if I need to make adjustments, make sure I do in the right place. So this is something I would strongly recommend. Everything you do, make sure you have some kind of documentation handy for the future, so you can go back and do whatever you need to if you have to. So that concludes my presentation. If you guys want to connect with me, ask me questions or whatever, you can visit any of my sites in here, webuildfunnels.pro. So it's pro as in professional, or gonzalojimenez.com. You can message me over Facebook if you want to, like send me a DM. If you prefer email, that's my email address as well. So whatever works best for you, I'm happy to. So if you guys have questions, I'm ready for it.
Awesome. Gonzalo, thank you so much. That was truly, mind-boggling, the things that you're able to do with the behavioral adaptive marketing, the tracking links. Yeah, truly amazing stuff. We do have some questions.
Okay, cool.
So we'll go over that real quick. So as far as tracking links, Rowan was asking, these tracking links are assuming that people signed into my page. Can you kind of just describe maybe where you might use tracking links again?
Okay, you can use tracking links pretty much anywhere you want. Let's say you want to, I don't know, if I heard correctly, you said something like an opt-in page. Can you read the question again, Grant, please?
Yeah, so he said, this is assuming they signed into my page.
No, tracking links work when they become part of your system inside Kartra. So at the beginning, like, let's say, well, actually you can use it for both, but if they are not part of your system, it will only be useful for counting the number of times people are clicking. So let's say you want to share a YouTube video on your Facebook profile. It has nothing to do with Kartra, but you want to know how many people are actually clicking. So you can create a tracking link inside Kartra where the destination will be your YouTube video. And then you take that tracking link, share it on your Facebook profile. When people click that link, they will go to your YouTube video. It has nothing to do with Kartra, but Kartra will keep counting how many people clicked. So that's one way to use it without having people inside Kartra. Now, that could be just for, again, counting. So you want to see the engagement to see if people are interested in that video, for instance. But the power comes when you use it inside Kartra. So then you can do different things inside Kartra, like sending emails, sending text messages, showing different pages or things like that. If you only want to count, you can use it outside. But if you want to do something based on the clicking, then you need to use it inside Kartra. So they need to be part of your database, part of your Kartra system, of course.
Perfect.
Hopefully
Yes, thank you. Let's see, Jim Fulkerson asks, how can I screen emails using a form? And he clarifies, in other words, if someone uses a personal email like Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, I don't want to accept that email. Can that be done with a form?
It can be done, but it's not easy. Like it's not like a built-in feature in Kartra. You will need custom code and you will need something else to read those emails and create rules based on that. So it's not that simple. It's doable, but it's not that simple. I haven't done it personally, but I'm pretty sure it can be done using custom code.
Perfect. Wonderful. And then Rachel Sino asks, I wanted to know how to automate text in my sequence and funnel funnel them to my merch account direct.
I don't fully understand. Can you elaborate on that question, please?
Yeah, we'll wait for Rachel. She wants to automate her text in a sequence and then funnel those people to her merch account.
Yeah, I don't understand what merch account means.
No worries. While we're waiting for Rachel, we'll go ahead and move on to another question we had from Rowan again. He asked, is there any blog about building basic funnels for beginners?
I don't know. You may need to just go and check the Kartra blog and see what they have. I personally don't do blogging, so I don't know. If you're trying to learn, what I would suggest is that you start with one of the free funnels that Kartra has and use Kartra, the Kartra training, so you can see how it works and understand how it works. Again, Kartra is very, very powerful, which is why it's very complex. So if you're trying to learn, I would say start with the basics, start with something very simple and try to understand that thing first. And also, I would suggest try to do something that you're going to use. Like, let's say you're trying to grow your email list. So do a lead funnel, build a lead funnel. Don't go crazy and do something like a high ticket funnel that we're talking about right now. Do something simple to begin with. And then you keep adding more and more skills in the future. Don't go all in all the way, because Kartra has so many things and you don't need everything at the beginning. So don't go crazy with that.
Yeah, that's great advice. We often, our onboarding team recommends that simple list builder funnel,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a complete funnel for you. We have a whole under the campaign section of your account.
Exactly.
You'll find those done for you campaigns, and it's a great way to even, like, you were saying, Gonzalo, study how things are. It comes with all the assets. It comes with tags. It comes with the pages. You just go in and kind of make it your own.
Yeah,
and so it's a great way to learn.
One more thing I want to add on that is that you have to test your funnels for functionality first. And I've seen so many people say, oh, my funnel is not working. And even when they are running paid traffic, then they realize that they cannot sell, or people cannot subscribe to their email list, or things like that. And that sounds crazy to me. But for whatever reason, some people don't do. Test what you're doing before you make it live to people. Like, even if it's just for free, like if you are sending this to organic traffic, test it before you send it to people. Make sure it works. So run through the funnel as if you were a user, like what you see, what emails you're getting, what is happening, and then make sure you're happy with it. Click every single link, make sure all the links work, and then you can see it from the customer point of view, and you can see it from the Kartra owner point of view. So check both of them and see that it's working actually the way you want this to work. Don't assume because it's a pre-made funnel, it's working correctly, or don't assume because somebody else did it for you, it's correctly working. Always, you have to test yourself always, so that you can see both sides, from the client point of view and from the owner point of view.
Very smart. Very smart. Yes. I do believe that's it. I don't see another clarification from Rachel. She may have left already.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there is going to be a replay that's going to be sent here in the next hour or two. So check your email for that in case you missed any parts of that. Again, we thank you so much, Gonzalo, for being here today. It was truly an honor. You have so much knowledge, expertise, pro tips, and hacks. And so if you guys want to get in touch with him, his information is there. And we will see you at the next From Novice Ninja event. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.